one of the things about Mythic is it's a community effort. You know, when you build video games, it's not one person building the game, right? It's a lot of people, 100. You know, a modern game has as many people involved. And so really to get the job done, we need a lot of people. And we don't just need programmers. We don't need just people in our major that we teach. You know, we need people from the art department. We need students from English. We need students from music. And so we're trying to get this collaborative effort going. So we call it a community-based video game development project.
And NSF has shown interest in supporting projects that would increase the interest of students to come to computing kind of a field. And so when we submitted this grant to build Mythic, they funded us to actually build the game. So we got support for actually doing this game. And as what David is saying, we are collaborating with two RCC campuses, the Riverside campus and the Norco campus. We even have Rim of the World high school students cooperating with us. And two of our own graduates who are alumni now built their own company called Broken Circle Studios. And we connected them to this grant for internships. So students were going to this game, gain experience in actual building the game, and go through the industry, learning how that game industry works.
There were 3 people on the Vector Force project.
Right.
They started a company about a year ago, and they're doing very well. And they're doing video games. It's a local
How common
company.
is it to have a program? I mean, it sounds like it's an unusual thing to have a track within your computer science department that teaches gaming or game programming.
It was brought about. BS Computer Science enrollment went down since its peak in 2001. And the loss of interest is because of the dot-com bust. A lot of software engineers lost their jobs, and the outsourcing of companies. So there were less interest in computer science. So what we did was try to get back students to computer science. We introduced a BA in computer systems, which is more on the applied area, because the BS Computer Science has a lot of the mathematics, the physics, the hardware part of computer science, which the students say it's not relevant to what I do, but we feel it's important, either because we need to be accredited by this accrediting board, and of course we want the students to become software engineers to work in companies. But there are other areas in computer science that are equally interesting, like web application, systems administration, graphics programming, game development, and the interdisciplinary option of computer systems. So they're more applied.
But is the game development something that's more unique to CSU?
No. This is actually what Art is describing there is kind of a national phenomenon.
Really?
So
other
all
schools have
computer
that?
science departments across the country lost at least 50% of their enrollment, maybe more, in some cases up to 70%. So everybody scrambled, what are we doing wrong? And hey, we don't have any students left. So a lot of departments have been introducing video games in their programs. And the thing about it is it's a natural, because pretty much every topic in computer science is covered in video game technology.
Right.
I mean, you name a topic, it's in there.
And
So
it goes outside our domain as well, like what you're saying,
Oh, right.
art, English, music, even psychology for human-computer interfacing, which is one of the main areas now in computer science.
Indeed, what I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to how does this group aspect of the creative process, working with all these people, what are some of the differences between, let's say, your own individual creative work in computer science? What's different and what's the same? What holds true regardless?
Well, it's interesting, Dr. Concepcion here teaches software engineering. And one of the things that he conveys to his students is the main problem with building software is not the technical challenges, it's the people challenges. It really is all about working with other people. So when you say comparing our individual work with the group work, well, what individual work? It's essentially group activity anyway. You still can approach it in an individual way. And it is actually one of the big issues. And you see certain types of students that are oriented to working by themselves. They're hackers. They might hide away, and they do interesting work, but you put them in a group context, and sometimes it fails. The people don't get along. There's the egos involved, and you need people. So that one of the challenges is actually figuring out how to build those relationships, how to perhaps set your own ego aside and your feelings and consider the perspectives of others. And so that is one of the major challenges. So when you say, what's the difference between how we might approach a problem as we're working by ourselves or whether it's working in a group, I just want to put that in perspective there.
And also, software has grown through the years. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, software are kind of moderate in size. But software of today, they are in the millions of lines of code. No single person can actually do that. So it's always a cooperation of thousands of software engineers and programmers working together in unison. One of the skills that we are teaching our students is how to work in a team, okay? And be good, no matter what your role is, from documenter or technical writer all the way to software architect. You must be good in that role if you want to find a job out there when you finish, because all of these roles are important in the software development industry. So you might say computer science is unique in terms of what is useful because the only thing you can do software today is through a team effort. And games are very big project, very unique, unstructured, ill-defined kind of project. Yes.
Do you find it either harder or how different to be communicating with people, as you mentioned, from art or from music or from psychology or English versus to computer science people? What are some of the differences in how you would interact and communicate?
I don't know of I guess it's, talking to an artist. I mean, obviously, I assume that, and I was working with an artist yesterday, and an artist from our university here, LaShawn Depew, is working on the Mythic project. And, obviously, she doesn't have the same background that the students in our major have. So I just have that assumption, but I wouldn't say I work any differently. There's always, when you're working with students, I think it's different than in a company. When you're working with students, especially a project like this, most of the work is voluntary. And so we have an army of volunteers here, right? It's different than having an army of employees. So it's you can't order people around. It's you have to draw out their joy and their interest in participating in the project. So I'm always very careful to manage the space around them to make sure that they feel interested in doing the work. And I always checking my tendency to try to control and exert force, and I look for what is it that's motivating this person, what's drawing out their energy, their time, and their commitment to the project, and that's what I try to tune into. But that's the same for students outside of computer science as it is for students inside.
Do you have graduate